So this is Karen Harrison, and welcome to Reiki Call for December 21, the solstice. We are happy to be here. And if you're just now joining us, I invite you to mute yourself. So my website is www.karenharrison.net. And tonight I have a guest speaker on, William Rand, president of the International Center for Reiki Training. He is a world-renowned Reiki master. He's traveled all over the world. He's written numerous articles on Reiki. He's the editor-in-chief of the Reiki News magazine. He's the founder for the Center for Reiki Research and the Reiki Membership Association, and a good friend of mine. And welcome, William. Do you want to unmute yourself?
Okay, how's that?
That's good.
Does that sound better?
Yeah.
I was talking there. Yeah, I was saying, hey, fantastic. Glad to be here. So,
I probably
yeah, wonderful group
some
of
of your
people.
credentials, but.
Oh, yeah. Good.
So, William is going to open up with a little centering meditation. So, do you want to go ahead and do that for us?
Yes. All right, then. Let's take a moment to relax. Take a couple of deep breaths. Maybe a little sigh when you breathe out. And close your eyes. And place your feet flat on the floor if that's easy for you to do. And just be aware of your physical body. Feel your arms and your hands. Be aware of what your arms and hands feel like. And then your forearms, your shoulders, and the back, and your back and neck, and your head. And coming down through the chest and abdomen and hips. And then the legs, the upper leg, the thigh, the knee, the calf, and the feet. And take another really deep breath, just breathing it into your entire being. And be aware of your physical body. And then be aware of your feet, how they're touching the floor. And imagine the soles of your feet. And imagine the energy in your body now projecting down through the bottoms of your feet, going down into the earth, through the soil, and down a little deeper. Maybe there's some sand down there. Going down even deeper now and feeling how peaceful it is deep in the earth, calm and peaceful. And going down even deeper. And as we go deeper, we get into an energy that feels very grounded. And there is a spirit of the earth. This spirit is there to nurture all the living things, called Mother Earth, care for everything that's alive. And take another really deep breath, just breathing in all that wonderful nurturing energy of the earth. And imagine your energy expanding out further and further within the earth. And on the surface, feeling the oceans, the waves, and then the continents, the land, the mountains, some of them going quite high. Some of them have snow. And then the streams and rivers coming down from the mountains. What that feels like to be water flowing down from the mountains all the way to the ocean. And there are jungles, lots of vegetation, animals, the deserts. And just explore for a moment all the beautiful and wonderful places within the earth. And as you're doing this, be aware that the earth is just one planet orbiting the sun, and there are other planets. And all the planets are connected. There's gravitational energy that's kind of pulling on each other. They're interacting with each other. And there's a great big planet out there, kind of orangish, has stripes in it. It's Jupiter. It's the biggest planet in the solar system. And around it there are moons, and they look like little tiny jewels of light orbiting the beautiful planet of Jupiter. Just floating in its orbit around the sun. And just be aware of the beauty and peacefulness here in Jupiter. Such a very, very big planet. And then going further out, there's another planet out there. It has a ring around it, planet Saturn. Beautiful rings. And Saturn also has moons. And both of these planets, they're one after the other. Jupiter's in closer, and Saturn's a little bit further out. They're also in orbit around the sun. The Earth and Jupiter and Saturn. They're like children of the sun, part of the same family. And just take a moment to be with this imagery, the Earth and Jupiter and Saturn. How wonderful they are. They've been here for such a long, long time. So steady. Such a beautiful energy. And then imagine coming back to the earth and entering into your physical body. And be aware of how much you're connected to the earth and also connected to Saturn and Jupiter, all the planets around the sun. And take another really deep breath. Just breathing in all this wonderful energy, how connected you are to the entire universe. And when you're ready, just very slowly open your eyes and come back.
Thank you, William. That was wonderful. A perfect
You're welcome.
meditation for the great conjunction. So, yes, and you can find William and his classes on reiki.org. So, William, you are in Maui. Do you want to give us a quick glimpse of your view from where you're sitting?
Yeah, I have maybe some of you saw it already, but I have another camera set up out the front, the front of my house, and I'll show you what that looks like. So there's the front of my house, And that's the ocean. And the purple plants are called tea plants. And you can see the driveway on the right. Some birds just flew by. And then the sun may come back out a little bit better and you'll see a bit more. So that's a view from the front of my house. I live in a two-story house. It has 12 sides. And it was made by a couple who were contractors, and they built this house to be where they would live the rest of their lives. But unfortunately for them, just as they got it done, they had to move. And the house came up for sale, and I was very, very fortunate to buy it. So now I live out here on Maui.
What a blessing. And when the pandemic is over, you can go out to Maui and take a class with William at his beautiful house.
Yeah, I have classes out here too. And yeah, there are wonderful beaches, quite a few of them all around here. And there's also hiking there's a bamboo forest, and there are beautiful waterfalls you can swim under. And a lot of wonderful places around here.
Great. Well, thanks for showing us the view.
Sure.
So I know tonight wanted to share about one of your lifetime achievements, and that has to do with Reiki and nutrition. And, you know, William has been passionate about nutrition and healthy eating as long as I've known him. And, you know, that's how he is doing so well and, you know, maintaining such great health. And I don't know, walking up to like 5 miles a day?
Yeah, up to 5, yeah.
Uh-huh. Well, that's amazing. So, well, what would you like to share with us about Reiki and nutrition? What kind of a diet is
Yeah, well, sure, I can talk about that. Well, you know, we do Reiki on ourselves to be healthy. How many do sessions on yourself, once a day? Reiki sessions? Yeah, feels good. Yeah, so Reiki is very important for our health and well-being. And we, give ourselves Reiki. We can send Reiki at a distance to others, or even in person if we are living with them right now. And so Reiki is a wonderful system of health and well-being. And the other thing is that there are a few other things that we need to do to keep healthy too. And one of them is exercise, and then another one is diet. So our diet is important as well. So one of the interesting things that we've discovered with Reiki is people who do a lot of Reiki sessions, maybe they do 2 or 3 a day, and they have maybe they do 6 or 7 sessions in a week, something like that. They find that at the end of the week, they feel a little bit run down. And how many here have had that experience after you do a lot of sessions? You feel something's missing, or you feel need to rest. Yeah. Well, what we discovered that's partially due to the fact that when you do Reiki, you're actually using up certain nutrients in your body. And we have discovered what some of those are. And so what I did was I came up with a vitamin formula for Reiki people. And I'm just now putting it together, and probably next month it'll be available as a vitamin. So I don't want to make this a commercial for what I'm doing, but we're going to call them Reiki Vitamins. And so what we found is that minerals, magnesium and calcium, are really important for Reiki. So those two are good and important to take. And also there are certain herbs that are helpful to Reiki practitioners as well. And so by making sure that your nutrition is balanced, then it's going to be easier for you to do more sessions. And so you can even experiment with that on your own, getting some calcium, magnesium, getting like a multi-mineral with a nice source of calcium and magnesium, and try taking some of the minerals and just see if that helps you. so you don't see if you get as tired when you're doing Reiki or not. And then there are also the vitamins as well. And so just for having normal, healthy, balanced level of health, it's important to have, a balance of all of the vitamins. And so like A and C and D and E and K and all the B vitamins and so forth. So those are really important too. So having a nice, healthy, balanced diet, but also nutritional supplements are important. So we found also that it's not always possible to get your diet set up where you get everything that you need. And so that's where the supplements come in. Now, in putting together this vitamin formula, I had the good fortune of working with a vitamin company, and the woman, the rep, happened to have Reiki. So she was very excited about what I was doing and, helped me out quite a bit. So, so that was very helpful. And I also, though, I worked with a clairvoyant healer. Her name was Michelle, her name is Colleen Bonelli. And so what we've done too is kind of looked into the metaphysical aspects of vitamins. And of course, vitamins often come from plants. The minerals come from, minerals in the earth. But many of the vitamins are coming from plants, and especially the herbs. And so in looking at that, we know that there are actually what are called nature spirits that are supplying the plants with their energies. And we worked with the nature spirits, and they said, I didn't even realize this was possible, that they said that they knew which plants were going to be used in the vitamins formula, the actual plants, and that they then would work with the nature spirits that were working with those plants and help them and encourage them to be more in alignment with Reiki energy, so that when people take those the herbs, it will assist them in being better able to channel Reiki. Well, so I had no idea that was possible, but just in working with a clairvoyant person and then getting in touch with the plants, we discovered that they were, into this whole thing and very happy that they would be used for Reiki people to help them and assist them in doing their Reiki channeling.
Well, William, are you able to give us a little idea of what some of those herbs might be that are helpful for Reiki people?
Yeah. Well, what we've got is alfalfa and wheatgrass, and also barley, lemon juice, gotu kola, astragalus, spirulina. Those are a few of them.
Wow.
And yeah, so we put those are all in the formula I've got. And yeah, also bamboo shoot extract is good. Bamboo is kind of hard to eat. So they have bamboo shoot extract you can get. And then another one called dung quai and evening primrose oil, hawthorn berry, lavender, red raspberry, and geranium. Those are also very good. But one of the interesting things we found out, we were told, is that it's not just that you would take the right nutrients, but they needed to be in the right quantities, and so that they would all balance together and form a nutritional whole, so that each of them have a vibrational nature, and having the right amounts of each one was also quite important. It's not just, take a bunch of them, but get the right quantities of each one so that they balance each other out and apply the right vibrational energy to make a beautiful holistic nutrient. So we work with that too, and getting the right quantities of each of the nutrients.
Wow. So you were telling me earlier that this formula is going to have rejuvenation qualities and alkalizing qualities?
Yeah, the part of it, I looked into, what are the rejuvenating sort of plants or herbs. And so we put together what we call a rejuvenation blend. And it's interesting that the quantities are not really big, but it's just how they all work together. So it's coenzyme Q10, and then another DHEA, rice protein, and uh, and then um, and then something called L-leucine. So those tended to create a rejuvenating effect. So it helps the cells replace. So the cells would replace themselves in a healthier way. So in our bodies we have cells. There are billions and billions of cells in our bodies, and those cells have a certain lifespan, and then they die, and then they're replaced. And so the idea would be that they are replaced in is exactly the same way that they previously existed. And so as that continues on and on and on, then the better the cells can replace themselves, then the healthier you remain. And the more physically fit you are as you, I don't want to say this word, we don't like it, of course, age. Nobody ages, right? But anyway, as that takes place, then by having all the right nutritional elements in your diet, then it helps the cells have more vim and vigor and replace themselves in a more exact way, so that the aging process is slowed down. So, that in conjunction with exercise. So, diet, you eat things, but then you have the blood supply coursing through your body. And so if you exercise, it helps the blood to carry the nutrition more completely to all the cells of your body. And so, when you exercise, you get oxygen, but also it's taking the nutrition in the blood to all the cells of the body. So, diet and exercise go together. How many here exercise? How many like to exercise? Yeah. Well, the thing is that, when you exercise, you can focus on different things, but if you look for the parts of your body that are enjoying the exercise and focus on those parts, then it's going to be a lot easier for you to exercise. So
Okay.
that would be the thing.
So some parts like it better than the others.
Yeah. Yeah. So
Well,
that you'll feel with the body some parts that like to exercise better. And so just focus on those, and it will help you enjoy exercise more. But the exercise goes along with nutrition, because that's when you exercise, and the blood is coursing through your veins, and all the cells of the body have the opportunity, greater opportunity to release toxins and then to absorb the nutrition. So it keeps the body cleansed and then nourished.
well, that's wonderful. Can I share that story about hiking at what's the name? That state park, Napa State Park.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my gosh. Okay, I was out there at a Reiki teacher retreat with some other teachers in William Rand, and we were hiking over lava rocks at Napa State Park. And we were getting tired, so William went back to get the truck. So he came back with the truck. By the time we got to the end of the trail, he was there waiting for us. And I don't know how he went back all that way, got the truck, and drove to the end of the trail and met us there. I I joke that the angels must have picked him up and carried him over those lava rocks, because the rest of us were exhausted. So William must be doing something right with Reiki and exercise and nutrition and diet. And, William has always been big on supplements. Uh, so he's accumulated a lot of knowledge over the years.
Thank you. Yeah.
So, um, Is there a certain kind of diet that you recommend to people that you find especially
Yeah.
for you?
Yeah, so of course there's all different types of diets and there's all sorts of foods that we can eat. But what I would recommend is a high protein, low carb diet. And the reason for that is that as we, I don't want to say the word, but age, as time goes by, so to speak, as time goes by, what happens is the body starts to lose its ability to utilize protein. And so, or to digest it, to take it through the digestive system and make use of it in the body. So what you really need to do is increase the amount of protein that you eat. So one of the problems as time goes by is that people become weaker. And part of that is that the body doesn't have the same capacity to absorb and make use of protein as it did in the past. And so it's important to increase the amount of protein you eat. You can do that. There's a lot of protein powders you can get. There's all different types and flavors and all sorts of things like that. So protein powders are a really good source of protein. But also egg whites. They're excellent, very high in protein. And you can make yourself an egg white omelet, and you can put in different vegetables and so forth into it. So egg white omelets are very good. So protein powders, egg white omelets. Of course, I personally don't eat meat. I eat fish. But if you're a meat eater, I mean, that's your choice. You can eat more meat. But in meat, it would be more lean meat is important. And then also fish is very high in protein as well. So high protein, low carb. And so also it's very important to eliminate sugar.
Sugar. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I said the word sugar. Yeah, I know, sugar. Well,
What's
here
sugar?
I have a lot of experience with this because I had a stop sugar workshop that I taught. Now, I know you guys don't want to hear what I'm saying, but anyway, just pay attention, just focus. Anyway, I had a stop sugar workshop, and what happens with sugar is it has a certain type of addictiveness to on people, and almost like the more you eat, the more you want. And so but what's happening is that sugar leaves a residual amount of itself in the cells of your body. But if you were to stop eating all sugar for 3 days, what happens is that residual sugar leaves your body and the desire for sweets and sugar goes away. So that's it. And what I mean by stopping is completely. So you got to look on the wrapper. Is there any sugar in there? Don't eat it. And so actually, fresh vegetables, you can eat them. And then, protein things like protein powder and fish and egg whites, like I was mentioning, and things like that. But you can if you completely eliminate sugar completely for 3 days, you'll notice after that, your desire for sugar goes away. It becomes very, very easy not to eat sugar. And you forget about it. You don't think about it. And so that's a secret. 3 days. Don't eat any sugar for 3 days. And then after that, it will be very, very, very easy. So the idea is don't eat sugar. Zero, none, ever. And
what about
except
Lily's chocolate sweetened with stevia?
Well, if it's stevia, I mean, it's not sugar. The chocolate, you have to look on it. There may be still some calories in it, but I don't think I didn't look on that wrapper, that particular chocolate bar, but if it's stevia only, then sure, it would probably be much healthier for you. That would be a good choice. Now, one thing about chocolate though, the reason people like it is because it has a stimulant in it called theobromine. And theobromine wakes you up. And it's like caffeine. It's a type of caffeine. And that's why a lot of people seem to like chocolate is because of the buzz, the high they actually get from it. So what you could do is replace that with green tea.
Mm. How about kombucha? I could replace it with kombucha, William. I know that you're a fan of kombucha.
Kombucha is good, sure, but
Doesn't have too much sugar in it. Some of them are very sugary.
yeah, it depends on how they make it. What happens is they put sugar in it to begin with, and then the uh, living there's a what's it called, a squiggly or something. Anyway, there's a
Gobi.
plant. There's a SCOBY. The SCOBY eats the sugar and then transforms it and then eliminates most of the sugar in the kombucha. So yeah, kombucha isn't too bad. And also it's very healthy for you. Usually it has the probiotics, which is very good for your gut, have healthy gut.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Great. Well, thank you. Well, I want to just check in with all the wonderful people that have joined us here and see if any of you has a question for William about nutrition before we move on to talking about the Great Conjunction. So if you do, you just need to unmute yourself.
Hi, my name is Jessica. I do have a question.
Okay.
All right, Jessica. Yeah.
So you said something about, if you haven't started taking magnesium and calcium, you should start. So that should be like your number one. But with that being said, would you recommend it in a vitamin form, so like a pill form, or would you recommend it more as a food form?
Well, you could do both. I would recommend it as a vitamin form because it's much easier to take.
Okay.
And yeah, I would go with that. Like a multi-mineral.
Okay. And then I did have another question, which I thought I was kind of doing it on the chat thing, so I apologize. But when you said eliminate sugar, does that mean fruit?
Yes. When you're doing your 3 days, even fruit, no fruit, even for 3 days.
Okay.
After that, very minimal. Now, the one health coach I work with, she told me I could have 2 glasses of orange juice per week.
Okay. Yeah. Well, and juice in
yes,
general.
in other words, minimize food. Fruit is overrated, really. I mean, it's mostly a lot of sugar.
Mm-hmm.
And even though it's more natural sugar, it still is sugar. So the difference between refined sugar is that refined sugar enters your bloodstream very quickly and you get a high from it, and then it falls away and you feel down and you want more sugar. So that's sort of the addictive effect. Fruit isn't quite the same, but it still is sugar. And so the sugar is often ends up being empty calories, so that it just turns to fat. So sugar turns to fat. Remember that. Sugar turns to fat. And so that's why you want to eliminate sugar, but then also just minimize your fruit. You don't have to eliminate fruit completely, but like high protein, low carb. Fruits have carbs in them. So high protein, low carb. Now, what happens with the protein is that it takes longer to digest, so you feel full for a much longer period of time. And it supplies you with the extra protein you need because the body gradually reduces its ability to absorb protein, so you need more protein. So high protein, low carb. So and then if you combine that with exercise, then it's just a great combination.
Would you say that's more like the keto diet, or would you say that it's just for those times that you do practice Reiki?
Oh, well,
I guess you're practicing every day.
It's what you want to do is you want to practice Reiki every day, and you want to have the same healthy diet all the time. So yeah, so this is not like a temporary, I'm going to do this for 3 weeks and then go back to my old ways. It's like permanently changing your dietary and exercise habits. Permanent, forever. And like I say, eliminating sugar, your desire for sugar goes away. And it makes it very easy then to not desire sugar. But the high protein, low carb diet, I highly recommend it. It's very good for people as time goes by. And it gives them the protein they need. Like I say, that's why, notice as time goes by, some people get weaker and weaker, then they fall and they break the bone. So that's why is that their muscles get weaker. So by exercising regularly, having a very good diet and exercise, and like I walk 5 miles a day. I feel fantastic. And like sometimes I use the earbuds, I got this music going, got different kinds of music I'd like to listen to, and it's great. Now, 5 miles a day, you don't have to go that far. I would say if you did like 2 to 3 miles a day is fine, but the idea is every day, and it's fun. And very enjoyable outside, breathing fresh air. And I know the wintertime might be more difficult, but just get the right clothing. So there's a saying, they say this in England, they say there's no such thing as bad weather, just bad clothing. So you just have to have the right clothes. Gotta be, dressed.
Bundle up. Yes, thank you.
Bundle up, yeah. Get what but the thing is, when you're actually moving, you generate a certain amount of body heat. So you can actually go out with probably less clothes than what you think, maybe only one sweater instead of two. But
yeah, if you go on a hike with William, you need to be prepared for quite an adventure, especially that hike that he does over in Glastonbury on that trip. So,
yeah.
okay, well, hey, let's see if we have any more questions about nutrition. Okay, looks like Valeria.
Yeah. Hello, William. I have a question.
Hi.
Sometimes
Yes.
when you wake up and someday you desperately want something unusual, have you ever experienced that some nutrition like missing and you feel it? You just don't know what, but you desperately want some particular thing. I just, based on my experience, sometimes I desperately want like pistachio, which I never eat. I'm totally indifferent to them, but I want it. And, one day I don't drink beer. I don't like it. But one day I was just shaking. I wanted desperately beer, and I probably drank one beer within 3 weeks and then gone. Something what your body can tell you what you want. Have you ever?
Yeah. Oh, sure. Yeah, that's true. Yeah. Often there is a craving for something because you're missing it nutritionally. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. And about sugar, I just a little bit add. I came from Russia, and here I couldn't eat anything. I bought cookies. It's so wonderful. I just couldn't eat it because for me it was over sweet. I still do not buy
Yes.
but the problem is that I do not drink now eliminated sugar, but still I notice that you still have sugar in such products like milk, bread. It's loaded of sugar, which you cannot expect to see sugar. It's unusual.
Well, you have to be very careful.
Yes,
you have to be very careful.
Everywhere, everything, when you start to read ingredients, almost everything has sugar, which you're not supposed to have. And now I eliminated sugar. I use all recipe, like I add half or 1/3 of sugar, which required. But the problem is every time when I go back to Russia and when I cook without sugar, I'm telling my daughter, it's not enough sugar. And she looked at me and telling me, are you crazy? It's loaded of sugar. How changes, these habits?
Yeah, you get used to it. So if you change your habit and eliminate sugar, you forget about it. You don't even think about it. You're not interested anymore. So, like I said, after 3 days, most of the desire for sweets goes away. So, and it's not just a little bit. No, none. No sugar. 3 days, and then the desire goes away.
So it'd be important to read labels and make sure that the products that we're choosing do not have added sugar. And that's where eating fresh vegetables and, you know, fruit. There's a little expression, fresh fruit is my preferred dessert. You know, certainly eating the fruit rather than drinking the juice is going to end up with less sugar. But I'm wondering,
Yeah, and more fun.
to transition into talking about the Great Conjunction, since that's today, it's going on right now. And
Yeah.
Paul, if we go outside, what might we expect to see and what does it mean?
Yeah, well, in the Southwest, you're going to see well, actually, they're so close together right now, it's almost looking as one. Now, who was the person that saw the conjunction? There was someone that mentioned it.
Peg?
Yeah, Patricia,
Yeah,
or
I
Peg?
saw it. Yeah, and I took some pictures. I went to, I live in South Florida in Palm Beach County, and I went to the beach actually, and I looked
Yeah.
towards the southwest, and it just, I mean, it was just like right there in your face. Except you could see there was just a very, very minimal separation of the two.
Ah,
And I was thinking that one would be stacked on top of the other, like, you know, like the Star of Bethlehem, but they were side by
Yeah.
side. And then the
Side,
other
yeah,
interesting thing was that somebody at the beach pointed out Mars, which I had never seen before. And that was
Now, where
just
was
a little, it was a little bit east of the moon. So it was very, very
Wow.
exciting. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, those three planets are visible now. Yeah, that's great. Wow.
Yeah. I
Yeah,
just,
so tonight, I mean, it's night for you guys, some of you right now, right? So,
yeah.
yeah, so
Now,
after
my relatives in New Jersey said that they couldn't see it. So I don't know if it depends on how north you are, whether or not you can see it. So
I'm in Texas. You can see it.
you can. Good, good.
yeah, maybe it was cloudy. If it's cloudy,
Yeah.
of course, you're not going to see it. So, mhm.
Yeah.
There's supposed to be a meteor shower tonight too.
What was that?
What was that?
I'm sorry. There's supposed to be a meteor shower too.
Wow,
Sounds
interesting. Yeah, so anyway, let's talk about the astrological meaning of these planets. So I was a professional astrologer for 10 years and did charts, you know, all the time and got very into it. I found I had a natural ability. And then slowly, I don't know, I just got out of doing it. So now I'm into Reiki, and that's all I do. So anyway, the two planets, Jupiter and Saturn, are very interesting. So Jupiter is a jovial planet, meaning it's the planet of happiness, kindness, and abundance. So Jupiter is the planet of expansion, growth, happiness, kindness, good fortune, good luck, everything good. That's Jupiter. Now Saturn is the opposite. Saturn is the planet of business, get down to business, rules, restrictions, structure, responsibility. You know, it's very stern. It's into how you organize things and the structure and things like that. So Jupiter and Saturn are almost opposite to each other. So what would it be when they come together? Well, in astrology, there is like a spectrum of ways that things can be looked at. And you have the negative that goes from negative to positive. So, so a negative way would be to say that Saturn stops Jupiter from having any fun. Restricts, you know. Saturn's the one that comes in and stops, you know, from having fun. So, but a positive way to look at it is that you have a well-organized fund, so that your fund is well-structured and it's meaningful. It may not just be fun. There might be doing something actually useful. And so it brings together an expansion of a structured activity. So that would be very good for business. So business, you know, you want to expand, but also you want to be structured. So it would be very good for any sort of business activity because you would have a meaningful, structured expansion. You'd be very optimistic and yet very practical in how you use the positive things that happen to you. So it's that combination of optimism and structure coming together. So, Saturn is very serious, responsible. It's into the rules and structure, organization, has a lot to do with business. And then Jupiter is into having fun and enjoyment. And so that would have a lot to do with maybe having a business that you enjoy. And but then it's into expansion. So it would be structured expansion, would mean the meaning of those two planets coming together. And what's happening too is because it's just going to be that like a moment, it'll be there for a few weeks in that way, that it's setting things up for people. And actually, it's going to affect some people more than others. It's not just across the board. Everyone is going to be affected by this. But depending upon your horoscope, the way your astrology chart looks, it'll have a different effect. So how many here have had your actual astrology chart done? Your whole chart? Just a few people, yeah. So astrology is more than just your sun sign. Like if you're born in a certain month, you're a Scorpio or a Pisces or a Virgo or something like that. That's where your sun was at. But all the planets form your entire horoscope, your entire chart. And so someone who's an astrologer can look at that and tell you all about your personality and what kind of person you are, because each of the planets has to do with a different part of the personality. Like Mercury is the mind. It's like the conscious mind, communication and speaking, writing, things like that. Venus has to do with love and harmony and peace. Mars is more of the warrior, like the strong masculine energy. And then the sun, of course, is radiant with light. It's very helpful and provides life. So each of the planets have to do with different parts of the personality. And then how they're lined up in your chart has a lot to do with the type of person that you are. By looking at that, then you can gain an idea of what's holding you back, because what's holding you back and where your strengths and positive qualities are, and what's actually holding you back in life. So depending upon how the planets are in relationship to each other, that will show whether they're in conflict with each other or they're supporting each other. And so, we have different parts of our personality, but one thing that's very interesting to look at is what parts of your personality are in conflict with other parts and what parts are in harmony with each other. So, and by knowing that, then you'll actually have an idea of what areas in life do you have to work on to you go better, and what parts of your personality can you use to, take advantage of and go out there and do things that are meaningful. So anyway, the Saturn and Jupiter coming together, very interesting time. And it's almost like they're opposite. And so they're creating these interesting dynamic waves of energy that if you have a positive attitude towards it, you can harness it for your own betterment. So like I was saying, organized expansion.
Yeah, I think when we were talking earlier, you said something like Saturn was kind of like rain and Jupiter is kind of like the sun, and when they come together, it forms rainbows.
Yeah, that's it. Yes. In fact, that was happening here. It was raining and the sun was shining at the same time. So yeah, that's rainbows actually are like Saturn and Jupiter coming together. So, the rain, people generally don't like it, but the sun is happy, and then you get the rainbow. So something very positive. So what you would want then is to use the Saturn and Jupiter energies to make rainbows.
Okay, that's cool. So, okay, does anybody have any questions for William about the Great Conjunction? I don't know about you all, but I'm not very knowledgeable about astrology. But I think one of the main takeaways I heard you say, William, is that it really depends on your chart as to how much you might be affected by the Great Conjunction. I was reading that it's the beginning of a new 200-year cycle transferring from Earth energy to air energy, where it might bring new possibilities for technology and progress and an increase in solutions for world problems is one of the things that I read. What do you think about that?
Well, yeah, it's taking place in Aquarius. So, taking place right at the beginning of Aquarius. So those are all possibilities. But like I'm saying, it's going to affect some people more than others. So, some people won't affect hardly at all. Other people will have quite a powerful effect on them. And what's happening is that the effect is taking place more in our subconscious mind. And it's like a seed that's been planted. And then over time, it's going to come up and create the fruit. So, changes are taking place below our level of awareness. And then over time, they're going to come to the surface of our mind, and there'll be this very powerful result.
So, for example, Reiki healers are often very intuitive and empathic. And I'm just wondering how many people here might have been feeling some sort of energetic shift taking place over the last several days. Okay, all right, a few of you.
People, yeah. Yeah. For me, it felt like these waves, kind of like shells of energy going out. It just like something, this resonance was happening. And
wow.
So over time, we'll see what the results are. It's going to end up having effects over many months, over this probably the new year. So.
Yeah, this is an exciting time to be alive for Reiki and the planet, new possibilities. It's been quite a year. So
yeah, there's happening.
The transition to teaching Reiki online has been another big shift this year. You want to say something about that?
Yeah, that was pretty amazing. So, yeah, I was here on Maui in February, and I went back, and that's when the virus really started to have an effect. And so I had taught a class online before, and I had done the attunement, but which I also call an ignition. And so I did that online. And so I'm working with a group of spiritual beings called the Brothers and Sisters of the Light. And one of them is Jesus, but actually they are the founders of all the world's religions and spiritual paths. So those beings on a higher level of consciousness are all friends and work together. And so they're called the Brothers and Sisters of the Light. And so in working with them, they said that, and I asked them in a session with my clairvoyant counselor, I asked, is there any way I could, perhaps start teaching online? Because I did teach the one class online, and they said yes. And we've been preparing you to be able to do that, and now you're ready. And so then that's when I started teaching online. It was, back in March when I got back to Michigan. And everything went really, really well. And so my online classes are going great. And of course, I'm teaching Reiki Masters, and they're also teaching online. So everybody has benefited from this. And it's different. And in many ways, way easier because you don't have to leave home. You don't have to go anywhere. So, before I was traveling all over the world and teaching and all that, there's preparation to travel and then getting there and, settling in and taking care of myself in terms of, food and all that, but then also teaching. I got a place to teach the classes. So it's much, much easier and different. And now I just stay here on Maui, and which I'm getting used to, because before I come here for maybe a month and a half or 2 months, and then now I'm just here, and I'm getting used to that, which is not too hard to do. So you saw the beautiful view I showed you, and it's out, in front of my home. So it's the ocean out there, and the sun rises in that direction in the morning. And I have a hot tub here also, so I enjoy myself quite a bit.
Yes, you have
So
spectacular sunrises there. I've got a number of beautiful sunrise pictures from our teacher retreats.
yeah, the sun comes up in the morning and it gets light, and then eventually the sun comes up. It's just beautiful. It depends on how the clouds are arranged and everything. You get different, every sunrise is different. But yeah, so I imagine as the virus situation settles down, that I'll probably continue to teach online, but also teach, some in-person classes too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, it's exciting, and it's exciting time that, people can, regardless of where they're located, take a class with you, or, a teacher of their choice. And you can find William's classes on www.reiki.org. So we're getting ready to wrap up. I guess we could take maybe 1 or 2 more questions if anybody has a question about anything we've talked about tonight. Okay, any questions? Joe, yeah.
There's a question.
Is there any way, especially those of us who are tuned to holy fire, can tap into the higher heavens or energies, or do you have any suggestions about, because I know holy fire is supposed to make us feel that we're being very guided, how to navigate and the best way to navigate through this difficult period in history? Any meditative techniques or use of holy fire Reiki that you might want to suggest?
Sure. Well, what I would do, of course, is do some Reiki on yourself. Use the holy fire on your palms. Put your hands on your legs. Do some holy fire on your legs, and just let it start flowing like that. And then there's a prayer. As the energy starts to go and you're feeling really good from the energy, bring your hands up into the prayer position and simply say this prayer: guide me and heal me so that I might be of greater service to myself and to others. And say that sincerely. You can say that several times. And with your hands like this, with the fingers up, you imagine the energy is going straight up through your fingers, up to higher dimensional consciousness and contacting the Supreme Being. And like that. And so say that prayer sincerely, and you will start to be guided, even more so than you have in the past. And just be sincere with a prayer like that. And have that as your intention. And look for opportunities. Opportunities are always coming to everybody all the time. But unless you're looking for them, and unless you're ready to take advantage of them, they pass you by. So if you're wanting to do something, if you get inspired that you want to do something, then you start looking, you're going to find that there are opportunities coming your way. And then, shoom. So you have to be ready to take advantage of the opportunities. And so that's either being willing to take a chance, or to do something different, or often it's learning a new skill or ability. So it's just a matter of praying for guidance and be willing to learn new things, and also do new things. And then life becomes much more of an adventure. And because there's always the next step, the next step, the next step. And it's amazing where you end up.
Yeah, thank you, William. I think that pretty much sums up your life. You're always, life is an adventure for you. And when we go to those teacher retreats, he takes us on adventures too. Generally, they have interesting signs like danger. Okay, great. Any other questions before we wrap up? Okay, Valeria.
I actually not question some experience because I took personal Reiki from Karen, from you, Reiki 1 and Reiki 2 in Houston. And I had a wonderful experience online with William Rand and May, first class online. And you know, this is what about personal experience and online experience. You know, because was not totally unfamiliar with Reiki, I think it's very good when you see personal, when you start Reiki 1 and Reiki 2. You are inside, you understand, you look what others are doing. You know, it's just you more involved than Reiki. And second time when I took master from William Brand online, I was a little bit skeptical, you know, online. But I was so impressed because, you know, you can feel this energy. But because you already know, you already experience, you already practice Reiki, you already know how it works and how do you feel. So therefore, from my point of view, like Master Reiki, it's amazing online. It's amazing. It works like I don't know. I didn't expect that it works so wonderful. But if I wouldn't be experienced on first Reiki, it would be, I think, more difficult to take master online for me. Or maybe first and second Reiki online, if you just have no clue what, like, I don't know, maybe some people have, but I had no clue. I just went, I'm curious, that's it. So, and it was very helpful just to see what is going on around. You know, like to touch, to sniff, and to so this is what my experience, personal and online.
Okay, thanks for sharing that. You know, I
Thank
found
you.
that people taking Reiki Master online, that really is very easy because they already know how to do distant Reiki. And so the class all translates from the in-person format to the online format very, very easily. And I think that's one of the easiest classes to teach online. I don't know, what do you think, William?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, it's such a miracle that you're teaching online just like we are right now, and every people feel it. And then we divide the class up into small groups and do Reiki on each other, and they feel it, and they are convinced. So I mean, yeah, taking the class online, you get it, and then it's very easy to teach online. And I think, like I say, this is going to be a lasting effect. I don't think everyone's going to go back to the way they did things in the past. I think that we've got online as a very important part of our lives. And as time goes by, also the technology just gets better and better and better. So who knows? Maybe we'll be able to like reach through the screen and actually touch another person or something, and as they get that worked out. So
Well, that would be very cool.
yeah.
So, okay, well, it's time to wrap up. And I just want to say thank you to everyone who has joined William and me here tonight. I appreciate you being here. I appreciate your dedication to Reiki and your personal practice. And I want to encourage you to give yourself Reiki every day, at least 10 minutes, hoping that it morphs into even more time. 30 minutes a day would be a worthy goal. Maybe one day 5 minutes and the next day 35. And I also want to thank you, William Rand, so much for joining us and sharing your expertise and your love and passion and wisdom and your, gosh, over 30 years experience with Reiki, and just appreciate
Thank
the
you.
leadership role that you take with Reiki in the world.
Well, thank you. Yeah. I enjoyed being here. Great.
So thank you all. And this is recorded and I will be posting it on my website at KarenHarrison.net and also on my YouTube channel at Karen Harrison Reiki. So you can also look for it on your favorite places for podcasts. So I hope you'll join me again. It's the third Monday of the month, usually at 7 p.m. Central. Would love to connect with you again.
Thank you so much.
Thank you all.